Ladies and gentlemen, rebel scum and loyal to the Empire, this is Sith Talk, the show that talks all things Star Wars TV, Star Wars movies, some case they're a little bit of both, and Star Wars comic books. As always, I am your host, Zach Chrisman, aka the Lord of Lore, and joining me is Brandon and Lindsay. Guys, how are you doing? What's up? Give me the whole thing.
I'm doing fantastic, but very tired. We'll talk a little bit about this, but I just got back last night from Amsterdam and Paris for a little bit. So very excited to be here talking, and it's going to be as we talk about our topic tonight of Mando and Grogu. It's going to be a very different viewing experience than I've ever had for a Star Wars movie.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm good. The school year closed out, so I'm on summer break, and starting it with a new Star Wars movie. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here, talk tonight, and go over some Mandalorian and Grogu because I have thoughts and feelings, and we're gonna get to them.
Big feelings, small feelings, medium feelings. What are the feelings?
I'm honestly not sure, so I'm hoping this conversation will help me with those feelings. Oh, Zach, I think you're muted there, buddy.
Sorry, that won't happen anymore. That's not good for me to have that up. So anyway, I will forget it every time. But yeah. So I think you guys are gonna help me figure out my feelings. So with that being said, we are doing full spoilers, right? Like we're gonna talk the whole thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
100%.
cool. So you've been warned. Again, spoilers. We're talking spoilers. In this show, we will be talking spoilers. You can tell we'll be talking spoilers by the way the content is. Anyway, so
and the fact that he said spoilers like 47 times.
Look, they won't even look at that. They'll just be after 5 seconds after. So
yeah, that's true.
So with that being said, we're gonna get right into it. How do you guys feel about this movie?
I feel a very big meh.
Yeah, big 4 out of 5 energy. Sorry, 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10 energy for me.
So I will need more elaboration with you guys because I'll be honest, like I legitimately don't know how to handle this one. I feel like I was right in my assessment of this movie every single turn on what I thought it was gonna be. And that's really all I got. Like it literally it was everything I thought it would be. And I'm not saying that like that's definitely not a good thing, but I'm not like mad. It was everything I thought it'd be. It just that
it was a super safe movie, I think. Like I've seen it with 2 different people so far, and their reactions have been pretty similar. Both pretty big Star Wars fans, like into the books, like not like as deep as us where like you have to watch it premiere night, but like they watch the animated stuff. They keep up with everything. And both of their reactions were it was a lot of fun. And I was like, yeah, pretty much. It felt like a really long episode of The Mandalorian. And I think the problem with that is not that it felt like an episode of The Mandalorian, because I think that kind of is natural. It didn't even feel like one of the best episodes of the movie. Like, because like I watched seasons 1 and 2 again. I got through a little bit of season 3, but I was thinking about it. And if you watch season 1, season 2, and then like, let's say you skip season 3 because people have mixed reactions on it, right? Pretty much everybody agrees 1 and 2, pretty much perfect, right? And if you take those and then you go immediately into Mando and Grogu, you're like, what the fuck is happening right now? Because it doesn't do anything. And so that's really my big issue with the movie is that there's no character development that happens for anybody but Rada. Mando, like Grogu gets some little bit of character development in like the Grogu's world section of things. Like he gets some more autonomy, I guess, really. Like we don't learn anything new about him. Like that would be character development. Rada's the only one that has an arc of any sort. And I think that's a big issue for me with the movie overall. It's one that I'm like, I was thinking about it this way. If I was still buying physical media, like, would I buy this movie? Yes, 100%, because I'm a completionist with the movies. I want to have them all. Would I put it in the DVD player very often? Probably not. Am I going to turn it on streaming very often? Maybe if I do rewatches of The Mandalorian, but like when it comes out, like even Rise of Skywalker, right? Like, you know, when it came out, I was like, I got to watch it this week because maybe the at home experience, maybe I forgot something. Like, this movie is exactly what it says it is, and that's fine. I don't think that's the direction that I want Star Wars to go.
So
That is really well put. And I'll say that my experience was different from yours in that you got to see it twice with other Star Wars fans. I saw it, my husband and I were in Paris, and he luckily was able to help me track down a theater that was showing it in English. This was the first time ever that I went to a Star Wars movie on the day of the premiere, and it was just us and like two other people in the theater,
Mm-hmm.
right? So already, and I thought maybe that was what was lacking for me, right? Because there were, Filoni cameos and the cameos of the other directors,
We got a
and like no one,
Doug Chan
yes, like
cameo.
no one. Well, I was like immediately ready to go up and be like, yeah, like you normally would on a premiere. No one else had any kind of reaction. So already it felt a little bit lacking, and it took me, I can't even say too long, maybe just a couple of hours to really then think about it and come to the conclusion like, no, it wasn't the lacking of experience, it was the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was because, Brandon, to your point, there was no arc, right? There was no development. This was, actually, I'll even add there was no big twist or turn, even. This was a summer blockbuster that is just there for the action and there for the sport of it, with no real care to the writing. There wasn't any aha moment. There wasn't any, oh my God, I didn't expect that. My biggest, oh my God, I didn't expect that was just how heavy of a character Zeb was, which I loved, right? And now it makes sense why he's in all the marketing for it. I thought he was going to be more of the quick cameo. I loved having more of him. I would have been so excited if this really did turn out to be what the first act sets this up to be, of he continues to chase down the Shadow Council. That would have been phenomenal. I would have loved 2 hours and 12 minutes of that. I did not need 30 minutes of setting up that great plot just to totally divert. And he's like, I'm stuck on Nalhada. This is the movie.
Yeah. I could also do with never seeing Hutts fight each other again. That was a scene I never needed to happen.
Can I just jump in for 1 second on this?
Please.
And I don't want to make this much deeper, but to me, this movie speaks to my fundamental problem with Star Wars. It's the exact thing that I've been struggling with, and listening to you guys starting to put it into the center. So I'm not going to elaborate, but I'll make it short. In therapy, which Brandon, I've been in therapy for a little bit. I've been on a little journey of rediscovery, all that stuff, yada, 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 that you do. And I put a lot of heaviness, but for expedience, new things I'm turning into a new person. There's some new things in my life. There's some old things. There's some things that have had to become just because. There's a lot of reasons. And Marvel's always stayed exciting for me, even in down times. And Star Wars is just starting to not be for me. And I don't and what I mean by that is we all blacklisted the Star Wars theories of the world, and they got different things out of it. And I'm not speaking for specific content. I'm just saying they had their different narratives. My narratives were not that, even though I liked generally the same content. But what will you have me do now as a Star Wars fan when Pixar, who has been writing children's stuff for years and years, has this beautiful, I'm still applying some of the Pixar stuff about emotions to my everyday life as a 33-year-old man. But there's nothing here. Where is Star Wars? We always talk about hope and all this beautiful stuff, but it's dude, the Acolyte was a messageless wash. This one had all the layers of a father-son story. It's so important right now to tell a father and son story. What kind of father and like sons need their fathers, fathers need their sons. It's always going to be important. Why didn't we tell that story? Like, what was that? Like, I mean, it was a story, but like, what
Yeah.
was that?
think they thought
I get
I
that,
think they thought they did, and because of not even because of Mando and Grogu,
but
because
I
of
just
Rhoda,
mean in
right? Where
specifics.
he just
If
and
it's
this
not
was
going to be
yeah,
like, if you're
this
telling me it's not for me
drove
anymore, then I
me
guess you're telling me
nuts.
that intelligent thought of any kind or any kind of interest or trying it all in writing, that's my conclusion now. Like, and it's not like saying Star Wars is done, but it's just like at this point, I'm no longer going to get mad about a movie or excited for one. And when one is super awesome, as I told my wife, I'll be through the floor right back to where I was, decompartmentalizing every single word. But until that's shown to me, what do we want me to do at
Yeah.
this point? Like, we all knew, like, literally, like, he goes back to Sigourney Weaver's character 3 times. It's 3 episodes. They just cut it into one movie.
Well, yeah. Go ahead, Lindsay.
Well, I was gonna say this. It really really irked me because Rhoda I thought was actually a great
Yeah.
character,
Oh,
and I
so
think
good.
Jeremy Allen White did a phenomenal. Like that is a really 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 top
Right.
tier performance
And
in my
clearly what
mind.
peak male fitness looks
But
like,
he
right? Like
clearly,
hard to tell.
clearly. But no, it was the fact that they just had him keep saying over and over and over, "Oh, I'm not my father. I'm not my father." It's like you're already showing me he's not his father in the thing, like how kind he is, how open he is. Like you don't need to keep having him say it every single time he's on the screen, and for him to then be like, "Your dad's a good guy," like
We
that
know
line
that.
would have been so much more impactful. Yes, if we saw some kind of transformation. We know that, and we don't need him to keep saying the same thing over and over and over for us to understand the point of the fucking movie.
Well, here's the thing that concerns me when we break all of this down. The last 3 Star Wars movies we've had, Solo, The Last Jedi, and now
Raz.
Mando and Grogu. I have walked out of the movie saying that's my least favorite Star Wars movie. That's a problem, right? I haven't disliked any of them. Now, I can pretty solidly say because of the lack of character development, the lack of world building or lore enhancement, or any of the things that I come to Star Wars for, this is probably pretty solidly at the bottom of my list, going forward. Like I would put the Clone Wars movie above this. And that I'm saying that with Ahsoka bias aside. Like I think it's just a better story than this, right? And when Mark and I were talking in our Best of Butts preview, like the things I said I was looking forward to were the lore building and everything. Like I feel like they didn't hit my butts, but they didn't get my best. Like they didn't nostalgia bait us to death, which I thought they might do, which I was actually pretty happy with. But like they also didn't push the boundaries, and that's the thing that concerns me in the long run, right? Like I don't want Star Wars to play it safe. And that was what was exciting about The Last Jedi, right? Is like, oh, they're not playing it safe anymore. They're not like Force Awakens, I get why you play it safe, right? It makes sense. It's Return of Star Wars to theaters, like, but even there, they built the world, they enhanced the lore, they developed the characters, all of those things. So like Star Wars was good because it took risks, right? Like A New Hope was a completely new, like, not a completely new concept, but it took all of these ideas and told it in this brand new way. Empire Strikes Back took so many risks as a sequel, right? Like Return of the Jedi, at the time it came out, was a risk because so many stories were ending with darker endings, right? Then you get to the prequels, and Phantom Menace is a complete divergence from anything we've seen in Star Wars before, right? Like Attack of the Clones is the first filmed all on digital, right? Like in some way, shape, or form, they were pushing the boundaries all the time. When is the last time we pushed the boundaries with
We
Star
do with
Wars?
Tony
Like the
Gilroy, but we just don't
volume?
give him a
Okay.
film.
Right.
We
Like
don't give all the people that need
it's
films. Sorry.
it's crazy. Like, and that's the thing I think that's frustrating for Star Wars fans right now. Look, I've seen very mixed reactions to this movie. Some people absolutely love it. Some people feel like us, where it's like, I don't love it or hate it. Like, I don't want it to seem like I'm bashing this movie. It's just not what I come to Star
I don't
Wars
think
for.
Dave Filoni's the guy.
I would
Sorry.
say,
You go in.
Oh,
You go in.
hold
No,
on,
you
wait.
go in.
Fighting
Okay,
You
words.
hold
go
on,
in.
wait.
Fighting
Hold on,
words.
hold on. Wait, so I'm going to make this point and then we're going to fight about that. My point is to your point, Brandon, the way I would phrase it is when people ask me to stack rank Star Wars, I've had this issue in the last few years where I think about it and I do it and it probably changes a little every time. But almost every time they follow up with, well, what about Solo? And I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I forgot about that one. Just put that on the bottom. Where now I feel like it's going to be with this one, where I'll stack rank and they're like, well, what about Mando and Grogu? And it's like, oh, fuck yeah, I forgot about that one. Just put it on the bottom. But yeah, it's this really just like, yeah, whatever. It doesn't, I don't care enough to hate it.
Yeah.
But
And
That's
all
what
right,
I'm saying.
That's a
Like, I
problem.
might get more mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You. No, build off. I'm agreeing.
No, like, I think that we need strong feelings around something, right? Like, I had this theory as a teacher, right? Like, I don't want to be anybody's middle of the ground teacher. I either want you to love me, I want to be the best teacher you ever had, or the worst teacher you ever had, because then at least you'll remember me, right? That's what they need to do with Star Wars. Like, Zach, and you and I have talked about this, how they keep getting the wrong message from everything, and they're just continuing to do it. And that's the big issue with me. Is like, okay, people liked the Mandalorian, like the character, because of the development up to season 2. And now we have undone every single piece of consequence from the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian. We have the Razor Crest back. Mando and Grogu are back together. The taking off of the helmet means less than it ever has before. Like, oh, now all you have to do is kill them? Okay. That seems way easier. Because as far as anybody knows, the people, like, you know, who
I
saw,
get the idea
well, I guess
behind it,
technically the
though.
people who saw me.
I get the idea
I get the idea
that you were
behind
literally
it.
not worth
Like,
the oath.
but it's problematic because it's like, oh, they're just going to change the rules.
I know,
fit
that's
the
why I've been
story
so upset
or what
for
they want
years.
to do. Like,
Sorry.
like it was such a big deal in season 3, and they undid it. They undid the taking off of the helmet at the end of season 2. Like, everything of consequence that they did to build this character, they've taken away to revert him back to who he was in season 1. And it's like, bro, that's not the thing. Like, this, it's the same problem as people who are like, well, Luke was a crotchety old man in The Last Jedi. Yeah, at the fucking beginning of the story, bro. Like, this is called a story. There's an arc. It changes. People change. Characters change. Like, what are we doing with this, keeping these characters so stagnant?
It's really because,
right?
like, and I'm not trying to go hippie. I'm not trying to get political. You know, this is my thoughts. I'm sorry. They just are. At this point, they are. And I'm not getting to the like root debate of it all, but like somewhere along the way, in acceptance, in learning to accept others and learning to include others, we also just forgot that we could also have like original stories specific to everyone else that might raise some feathers for other people because it doesn't pertain. Point is, we forgot to put a flag anywhere, so like we're just getting hollow, like essentially we're getting the script version of AI slop, where like it looks great, but it looks off. Like nobody's really willing to tell stories, and I do think this is going to change in culture very soon. I think everyone's ready for something to just feel like real again. But like with Star Wars, they have to learn pretty soon because Marvel's already learned entire lessons in the same time that they are still learning the same one. DC's learning had entire reboots in the same time that they're still learning the same ones. These are all the time. When DC sucked and Marvel was at its height and Lucasfilm was coming out with their first film, that was 2015. DC's had another 2 Batmans, and they've had a whole nother Avengers franchise since then. They've had their shitty eras, and they've been back, and Star Wars is still here like, oh yeah, like, what do you guys want? We don't know. We'll just give it to Dave Filoni.
Yeah.
So to your point though about Dave Filoni
I've come
not being
prepared.
the man, I think my gripe here and why this falls flat is because he is, when it comes to long-term storytelling. You mentioned AI slop. It's almost like he put, an entire season of a show into AI and was like, hey, make this 2,000 words
You either die
and
you
cut
either
this
die
down.
a hero or you
And
live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Dave,
yeah, but
That's so
I
true,
still,
dude.
I trust him fully when it comes to the long-term stories. This was
I think
not
Dave needs
that.
to
He's not the
I think
2 hour
Dave
guy.
needs to spend 5 years writing about something else and come back. I don't think Dave should go away from Star Wars, but dude, it's been what 20 something years at this point, like, and no offense, but I now label him as a George purist, which was the first problem. It was. Sorry.
I can see
It
where you're
was the
coming
first.
from
Look,
on
look,
that.
listen. All of those movies, and I'll make it brief, but all of those movies you just mentioned were all around when he started getting more power because we all asked him to get more power. We wanted him at that time to be the king. And that was right on time when we started hearing things about him going to the set of The Last Jedi. And then by the set of episode 9, he was fully in that bitch. Like, and then we hear about, The Acolyte was fully written. Oh, he comes in and change. Just point is, like, just if you don't see anything there, don't see anything there. I'm not asking you to. I'm just saying that
Yeah.
I do. And I think that when your name is Dave Filoni as writer, you're releasing it, and you're the head of content, and this is the movie, this is your first standout, like your first rollout of the red carpet, that ain't a good look.
I disagree, though, that I don't think this is his first rollout of the red carpet because this was already like completed essentially by the time he was
Okay.
announced to take over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like in baseball, like who's responsible for the loss, right? Like which pitcher gets the loss depends on like how many base runners are on, right? And we had the bases loaded here, and they struck out with 2 outs. Like that's where we're at. This move. I think there's 2 things that really grind my gears. One, we know Star Wars can do better storytelling because we just got Shadow Lord. Like really recently, right? Like, of course we see the Andors and stuff like that, but like we know they can do it right now in this time and space, and in the people who are developed. That's the first thing that bothers me. And the second thing that bothers me is like this really felt like they didn't know what they wanted, right? It felt corporate, which is the antithesis of Star Wars, right? Like if you handed this to, a CEO of any company and said, "Hey man, you get to write a Star Wars movie, like your only job is to make sure we make money." Cool, I'm going to take the 2 most popular characters in the franchise right now. I'm going to have them do a bunch of cool shit for 2 hours, right?
It's
Grogu will
so
be cute.
merchandisable, yeah.
Yeah, like no, it's great. And like and I think okay, there's a third thing that bothers me. I lied to you. The third thing that bothers me is like I feel like the marketing was better than the movie.
That's because that's all they had,
Yeah.
homie.
Like
They were just trying to sell Grogu and Mando toys.
right. That's the
what
problem.
it is.
Right, like it's the reverse of
Right,
Solo,
as opposed
right?
to
Like
George
Solo,
Lucas, where you could have had good stories and good toys. They both can exist.
yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So wait, I have a question for you.
yeah.
Right now, oh wait, this dropped. This actually makes me feel better. So everyone was talking about how this is the highest rated movie, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it is sitting at 62% on Rotten Tomatoes, 88% audience score. Do you think those scores would be as high if this was still a December release?
No.
I think they would be because I think we're talking general audiences. And here's the thing that I think gets lost in the sauce. And Zach, you'll appreciate this because I actually saw somebody talking about this with regards to wrestling recently, where they are catering to the everyday fans who are going to go see the movie one time, right? In the same way that like wrestling right now is catering to the fan that's going to pay the one-time ticket to go see the show, and it's the in it all the time fans that keep this thing breathing, right? It's the I watch every Monday and every Friday that keeps this thing breathing.
All
Um,
of this came from
and
2015 obsession. All of this basement came from
mhm.
2015 obsession. Thousands of dollars of shit for years over an obsession. I'm not showing a good job at all, but like that all comes from obsession for the viewers. Like you don't get that by just kind of liking something. And that's what good fucking
Right.
storytelling can do for your money. And that's why when I read business books, I've read what's his name? Something Voss. Never Split the Difference. It's a whole book about negotiation. The final chapter of the book is remember your reputation precedes you. When you look at marketing for business, what is still the strongest thing out of all of these analytics is word of mouth still matters, meaning your reputation will always precede you. And if you have a good product, people will talk about it. They'll spend their money on it. They'll want to put billboards of it. So just have a good fucking product. It's as simple as that.
So, Zach, what do you think then? If this were a December release, when people expect not a blockbuster, but a good, we're heading into Academy Award season movie, do you think it would have a lower than 88% audience score on Rotten
Yeah.
Tomatoes?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
do too. But that's what to Brandon's point too of like this feels so corporate. It's like even the release date just felt so thought out and
No,
not thought out
Disney
for
needed a
us.
payday before Doomsday. And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that one is a bad thing. I'm just saying I that's my view, and my view is direct, but that is what I believe. I believe that in bit like I don't believe my family's painting business gets 25 years when they grow and all the time rise and fall if we don't do good work, you know? And then when we go
Yeah.
to a home show and we're seeing thousands of people in our area and we get like everyone really was happy with our like talking to us. Like we got like two things. Like somebody was like, "Oh, you didn't call us back." That's two people out of an entire weekend. Your reputation precedes you. The answer is Disney will have to piss people off a little more to make some passionate people again. Like come out with some
Mm-hmm.
movies, man. Like don't be afraid to swing, to add to your wrestling and then give it back to you guys. You don't get a Danhausen without signing Danhausen. He's not for everyone, but look how Danhausen turned out in wrestling. He's an overnight success because somebody took a chance on him. CM Punk pushed for a Danhausen for years at this point, and WWE didn't want to do it. For those who don't know, Danhausen dresses up in makeup and looks like a 1930s haunted vampire. It's very goofy. He is also one of the top
Ridiculous.
merchandise sellers in
Mm-hmm.
overnight. The second he got in signed, he was like top 3, and he'll probably stay there. That you got to take risks, though.
Right. And like the Last Jedi was the last risk
Mm-hmm.
that they took with this, right? And like I have talked to very few people who had the vitriol that you saw online. And that's the problem, I think, is that they're listening to the online fans, right? And not the fans who are actually showing up at the movies. And what happens then is you don't get fans showing up at the movies. Like that's the problem. It's what you said earlier is the same experience that I had in the theater. Like where is everybody? Right? Um and that's a problem. And so I think what we're getting to here is not even about this movie, but like is this movie the first like canary in the coal mine of not the end of Star Wars, but the end of Star Wars as we know it, you know, and the end of maybe even the end of storytelling as we know it, where or movies even, because like if this is what we're gonna get, like Zach, you're 100% on point with your Pixar story earlier, right? And like the Toy Story 5 looks like it's going to be a great commentary on
Mm-hmm.
technology versus imagination,
They're carrying
right?
us through our lives. Pixar, as kids, we
Yeah,
wore that, and we're still going,
yeah.
and
Well,
it still matters.
and it still matters, and we can still tell those kinds
Same
of stories,
company.
and that if we
Sorry.
100% same company, if we didn't have stuff, no, if we didn't have stuff coming out where it's like these are this is the same house, right? Like it's the same people making these things, or it can be the same people making these things. Why are we not? Right? We have the same people making season 2 of Mandalorian as we did this movie. Why
Wasn't it
aren't
your guys' idea when I talked to you? Like, didn't we talk about, like, we talked about a solution one time, and I don't think it was my idea. It was somebody's idea that they said, like, give 10 directors $10 million, tell them to get creative and make a fucking movie. Like, have 10, greenlight 10 scripts for $10 million, lower these budgets, and just see what they do. Like, start just creating them, like wrestling. Create your NXT, dog. Just have people in the row, but, like, start telling something. You have to plant a flag if you want to make money. You, like, at this point, we will need you to tell.
I actually really like that lowering the budget thought too.
Well,
because
I'm
even
thinking
so, like,
about Deadpool.
I obviously saw it with Tyler, and he liked it more than I did, but also he's not a big Star Wars fan. He wanted the summer blockbuster, and he got it. But he was then obviously digging through Reddit and everything, and he was all excited. He was like, "Oh, do you think, everyone thinks they're going to do like a Rhoda spinoff?" And I was like,
Oh, of course they will.
With what budget?
That doesn't
With
have
what,
a leg to
that's
stand
the
on.
most expensive. Yeah, but then there were. Well done. There was he was like, oh, what about like an Embo spinoff then? And I was like, but that was Clone Wars. Like, we don't need a spinoff. We've already had these characters. We don't need it. But also, like, with Rhoda, yeah, it might be cool, but why spend that much money to create him on what could be a great story? I would rather just have a smaller budget, better story. Remember?
Well, and that's a thing too. Like, they spent more on this movie than they spent on any one season of The Mandalorian.
And the first Deadpool was made for $16 million.
Yeah. Like, I just don't get it. Like, I get the whole profit margin. I get the bottom line of it all, right? And that's a factor that we just have to live with because we live in late stage capitalism. Like, that's just
right. But Hollywood has been overspending
Zach, you're right.
for a long time. Everybody knows that. Even you guys.
Yeah, a long time.
Like, and I listen to movie podcasts every day. I've known that for 10 years. Like, it's.
I mean, it's also why they're leaving Hollywood.
That's why it's not sustainable. You will have to go back anyway. At some point, these budgets will reset.
Look at.
So budget aside, though, Brandon, I want to go back to
hold on.
Yeah,
I got one more thing on the budget, and then we can hop into that. You just had 2 horror movies that were made for $1 million or less that made back like 10 times their budget. There was the one, I can't remember the YouTuber's name, but he funded it all himself, paid like $1 million for this horror movie, and it made back like
Blumhouse has been making a career doing that. It's an entire horror story.
Right. Like, we just have Obsession is the biggest movie in the world right now. It had a $750,000 budget. It's made $100 million. So I don't want to hear we can't do that.
Right.
And that's what I feel like we're hearing.
But
anyways, Lindsay, go off.
You had the question of, is this the canary in a coal mine? I optimistically want to say no because of the way that they are pumping the brakes on everything else. Right? Okay. This is the least amount of content we'll have gotten, I think, since season 2 of Mandalorian in a year. Right? We have Maul, we have this, that's it. And now we know that we have Ahsoka also on the docket.
In 27, yeah.
We have season 2 of Maul on the docket. We don't really have anything else, so I'm hoping that,
which is Sean Levy.
Oh,
and
that's
probably
right.
Like, in my opinion, if I'm just gonna lightly call it, I think it'll be roughly like it's too similar for me to get excited, but I think it's gonna probably be a fucking great movie. It's probably gonna be like my if I'm gonna predict, I'll probably say, why didn't you do that with the Mandalorian and Grogu? That's my guess. I think it's going to be great, but it's going to be too similar for me to be pumped.
I completely agree.
They should have had one of the.
But that's why I think that the fact that right now they already kind of are pumping the brakes and I think reading the room. That's why I'm going to optimistically say
and I think they will.
And I want to agree with you. Yeah. Go ahead.
That's all. Like, literally, that's all. I agree with you on that. I think that Dave Filoni, I just hope that Dave gets out of Dave's way. I'm not worried about Lucasfilm as a whole because I do think right now they're at a point as a company within the Disney hierarchy where if they don't start like getting in a positive direction, they're going to get sold. Like they're going to get sold somewhere else. Like just because Disney, if they can't crack it in the next 6 years, when are they? I mean, like, it's
I don't think they'll sell it just because it looks good in their portfolio.
great. That's my
But
that's
are
my
we going to
guess if it
get?
doesn't go well.
Yeah.
Also,
like, are
never
we gonna
forget
get
that
Star
they
Wars?
only bought it for merchandising.
Yeah.
And look at how well this.
Yeah, but
this
you
was
have to have
merchandised.
like there's going to be there's effects to this. Like less people like Star Wars than they did in 2015. There is a loss at this when it could have been a gain. My point is on that Deadpool was a $16 million budget. The franchise as a whole now 2.9 billion. Good storytelling, guys. That's the lesson. The Dark
Yeah.
Universe. They signed
Yeah.
Johnny Depp, Tom Cruise, every fucking A-lister. What was it? Russell Crowe took a big picture, signed everybody, came out with that $350 million The Mummy movie. It went nowhere. You have to have good storytelling, guys. And Star Wars, I'm here. Like I'm not giving up. I'm just gonna wait.
No, I'm not giving up either, and I don't want it to come off like that. Like
I wanted to.
I'm 100% going to be just as excited for Starfighter, as I was for this, and like that's not going to dwindle because there's still the Star Wars
Mhm.
that I love, and they're still coming out with Star Wars that I love, right? Like Ahsoka season 2, I'm very optimistic about. Maul Shadow Lord, like Andor still exists. Like the High Republic exists. Like
KOTOR is happening.
I think
It is.
yeah, like their hits
Someday.
when you really think about it, their hits are more than their misses. The problem is they're missing on the biggest swings, right? They missed on the sequel trilogy. They missed on Solo. They missed on Mando and Grogu, like to different degrees, right? Like I know I'm in the minority here of absolutely loving Solo and thinking it's a phenomenal
I like
movie,
Solo a lot.
right? Lindsay, I know you love Rise of Skywalker more than Zach and I, right? So there's different degrees to this. But if we're just talking general, unbiased, like outcomes, they failed on more movies than they have won with. They won with The Force Awakens. They won with Rogue One unequivocally, right? Like those are just undeniable. Last Jedi, we'll give it a 50-50. Everybody here likes the movie. So you've got 2.5 movies out of 6 that you've put out that are revered as good movies, and then everything else kind of falls on a scatter plot, and that's a problem. That's a big problem. And this, I hope, my biggest hope is that they learn the right lesson from this, that this was not the route to go. I don't know if that means take Mandalorian and Grogu back to the small screen. I don't know if it means the end of the Mandalorian and Grogu. Like there's a lot of ways you can take that. That's not really my concern. If they keep it in the movies because they go, hey, it's going to make us $100 million that we can fund another movie. Cool, fine. Maybe they'll tell a good story or two in the series. What I want to see is, do they learn the lesson here of, hey, we got a really milquetoast reaction to this movie, right? We need to take more risks in our storytelling. Let's do that with the Rey movie. Let's do that with the Rise of the Jedi movie. Let's do that with like whatever movies we have coming out next. Let's make sure we're pushing the boundaries in some way, whether that's in the types of stories we're telling about characters, or the way that we're building the world out, or really literally I would take fucking anything at this point, because between seeing The Last Jedi in theaters and seeing Andor on the small screen, I believe I've seen the fullest potentials of what Star Wars can be, and anything less is unacceptable.
See, I'm like waiting for Peter Jackson's, and I'm not saying like in the like fandom way, but like I'm seeing a Star Wars where like you can tell like super deep stories about brotherhood and unity and sisterhood and like literally like the entire group of Star Wars is a bunch of misfits who should have never made it happen. Those stories will never run out, but like I'm also picturing that with the lens of like Lord of the Rings, man. Like there's 1,000 ways that you can tell these stories, and we're just asking you to commit to something, because that's what George Lucas did. George Lucas told stories and expansive worlds, and all I really am asking for is a world again that I care about enough to where when a weird old guy says something about the Clone Wars, I think, wow, I wonder what the fucking Clone Wars are. And then I spend my childhood thinking about it. That's all I'm asking for. And I get that that's a huge thing to literally say, but that's what Star Wars is. When people ask you what you like, it's not Space Wizards, it's this depth and world that you fucking existed in, and had these different little factions that could hit your flavor of the week. Oh, you want to be a Western guy? Go fuck up with the Mandalorians. You want to be a Knight Templar? Be a Jedi, dude. And the different timelines were just codes for different mediums. Old Republic was more adult.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It was kind of already figured out. Just try something. And just go for it. You'll be all right. And I do think Starfighter is going to be really good. I do think it is going to be something good. I think Starfighter is going to look amazing.
Yeah, and it's going to hopefully have more of the world building and lore. We've got a Force sensitive kid. It's going to hit some of those notes a little bit more.
Sean has a soul too.
Sean Levy.
Sean has a soul too. He tells deep stories. Yeah,
he does.
Yeah.
He cares. Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, look, I took notes in here in my little notebook, and I got 2 pages of reporter's notebook notes spread out. I almost filled an entire notebook with The Last Jedi,
yeah.
And I am totally cool if these movies exist, if these stories exist that are not super lore building, world building, all of that stuff, if we're getting those things in the theater too, right? That's the problem, is that we're not getting those things. Just think about how excited we were walking out of Solo, seeing Maul, and thinking about what they could do with that, and with Kira. Regardless of what you thought about the movie, you were excited about the potential of future stories. And this had everything going for it, where we should have been excited about future stories with the Mandalorian and Grogu. Honestly, I love Grogu. I want to see more of him. He's cute. He's fun. I'd like to see what. But if they're going to keep telling these stories that don't really get to what I want with these characters, with the trailer promised us stories about, Grogu's going to live longer than Mandalorian, and Mandalorian dealing with his mortality, and fathers and sons, and what it means to be part of the New Republic and preventing another war. Everything the trailers promised us, we didn't
or
get.
just what the fundamental story was. The fucking he was an orphan that found the Mandalorians, and Grogu had his own clan and was a lost cub. They literally could have told the story of their traumas, told more backstory. There's not enough 100%. About that. There's so many room. They could have went anywhere with it. Anywhere with it. That could have been a Western.
And they went the least interesting.
They just went the safe route, and that's why it's not bad, but is it good? I feel nothing, and because
it's so forgettable.
I don't go
it's
there to feel nothing. I go to Star Wars to feel my entire world is complete, because nothing made sense in my life until I could find out how the fuck Anakin turned into Darth Vader. All these weird fucking I want those questions back. It's just give me that. Give me that thing to claw at. And I'm not stupid enough to not know that the second that KOTOR remake comes out, it's gonna be bananas for me again. Because this is just what a delirious person who's been let down for too long says. But I have been let down for too long, and I'm right, guys. Just don't all I'm trying to say by this movie is just at this point, don't deny somebody like me a place at this. And I'm not saying you guys do. I'm saying tendency to be the negative Nancy, but I do think at this point somebody like me does get to have a seat at the table saying hey, remember good storytelling, guys, we should want this, because if we ask for it, they will give it to us. But if we just keep telling them it's fucking great and it's perfect, we're gonna get it. So if you didn't like it,
Mhm.
say something.
And I know it's possible because, like, I even think of like Jedi Survivor, right? Like, yeah, it's a great game. It's one of the best, two best stories we've had since Disney took over. Like, the great characters. They work well together. They work well separately. We have, a book spinoff for it. Like, it works. And it's almost like they just took that incredibly deep and compelling story and just dumbed it down here. And they were like, no, we kind of have the shell of this found family with these past traumas, but we're just going to dumb it down and strip it to just adventure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, that's the movie. Like, and what's crazy is the part I like the most is the Grogu's world part, right? Because that's as close to some kind of development for these two main characters that we get. And this is gonna sound so messed up, but when like Mando was running through the forest, like shooting people off when he was defending Grogu and helping them escape with the Anzellan, I was kind of hoping he would die. Like, because I was like, okay, cool. If he dies, at least they've taken
It's a
risk.
meaningful sacrifice too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was like, but as soon as I saw that cut, I was like, oh, Grogu's gonna heal it. It's gonna be.
Yeah. But
like
you know what though too? There's this thing I'm kind of grappling with, which is like I personally feel ready to put these characters to bed.
Yeah.
The issue is anything else you now do in this period, people are going to be like, well, what was Grogu do? Like, where was this easy out and easy win? Just bring in Din. I don't like the whole every single time we try to explore this era, are people now just going to be asking for Grogu?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think they've run their course, and I am afraid that we're not going to get them because, like, y'all know I love Filoni. He's had his struggles lately, that's undeniable. But his biggest weakness is he really likes to stick to his characters. And so I'm afraid, and Favreau kind of sounds like he's got plans for Grogu, but I'm like, I need a big swing to get me back in, and maybe that big swing is Din dying. Maybe that big swing is Grogu is actually at the Jedi Temple, which would kind of get rid of a comic, but they've done that before. There's so many ways that they could go, but I need a big swing to get me reinvested in these characters. And like, mind you, nothing that we've said takes away from the greatness that was, for me, all 3 seasons of the Mandalorian.
For sure.
100%.
Right?
Totally agree. Totally agree.
Like episode, like season 2 is like still like my favorite, one of my favorite things that Disney's done. That was a very special time to exist. So.
Yeah. And it doesn't
Did we each go around on a positive note and say one thing we at least liked about this?
Yeah, let's finish with that. I think that's important. I'll start. Like, as much as I've complained about like this was just action adventure, the action was badass. Shout out to Lateef Crowder and Brendan Wayne. Loved that they got top billing in this movie too, because it is such a physical movie. I was invested in every fight. The fights were used to tell stories, which I love. So really, really loved that aspect of it. I'm going to do 2 just because I have 2 that are really big for me right now. And they'll probably change by the time I get to Best in Butts with Devore and Drew. But the fucking music, dude. Like,
I'm so glad you said that. That fucking music was great. Holy shit. That's like we'll just call that because that's on my list. Like me and my buddy, I went with my 2 friends, Tyler and Colton, and both left the movie saying "holy shit." And then I was driving with Colton. We listened to the soundtrack on the way home, and they're not typically really people who do that, and that was something that they both did. I really loved the soundtrack. I'm not saying I want that in everything, but like when I say try new shit, like that's something you fucking try.
That's
And
Yeah.
that's something I'll be listening to for. Dude,
It's a
like
safer
so
way to explore,
it's like
but it
so
hits big. Big
non-STEM,
hit.
and then it's got the little Western shit that's just like, I'm from Indiana.
Yep.
Like, I got an
Yeah.
F-150. Like, we like that shit these days. That little like I got like one road in my town. Like,
This is made
yeah,
for
that's
me.
my point.
All right, Lindsay, what do you got? What's your best?
Sigourney Weaver, because
Yeah.
anything Sigourney Weaver is in, she's 10 out of 10. But also, I just really, really
She
loved
still looks like kind
Colonel
of
Ward.
good looking.
Like, I thought it was. You're
Yeah.
not wrong. Yeah, it was impressive. But like that to me was a cool, unique character because, like, yeah, she's a good guy, she's a rebel, but like, you don't really feel like she's rooting for Din Djarin for most of it
Yeah.
until she comes in at the end. So like that was cool to see, but just to have that like matter of fact, I'm here to stand on business, cool Sigourney Weaver character.
She's an HR lady for sure. That's what I thought. My wife said that the other day to somebody, and it stuck with me. Like, this lady said that she used to work in HR, and Sarah looked at me, and the second she left, she goes, "Oh yeah, she's an HR lady for sure."
Oh no.
So
It's so
yeah.
good.
So I guess my one thing, if I'm not picking music, which that would have probably been my number one, I will say Zeb looked. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. Like, if you're gonna do
that's
it,
how you bring him on
that's
screen.
how you do it. Like, Zeb looked very good between that CGI and practical, and I think they're starting to land that.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm so happy they got Steve
and if I'm not
going to
get a movie that like I was stoked about story wise, like these little small technical things that they're doing, I thought I'd like, good, great. Well, we'll improve somewhere.
Yeah.
Forward
That's
motion
Favreau
is
for you,
still
though.
forward motion, and I will say that there were some things that were forward moving.
Yeah. No, you can't have Favreau involved in it not look perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, how will that do it for this episode? Or are we?
I think that brings us to a good landing spot, man.
With plenty of room for the next
ending
one.
on a positive note.
Plenty of room for the next one.
Yeah.
So with that being said, why don't you guys tell us what we do here at Clashing Sabers outside of podcasting?
Lindsay, you want to go first?
Yeah. So aside from being a fantastic podcasting network with a variety of different shows, we are first and foremost a nonprofit organization. And our mission is to get as many stories that we know and love and we know shape futures into the hands of kids across the country. So we do this by taking every single dollar that is donated to us and getting books to put them in different schools and classrooms. If you want to help this mission, best thing you can do is join our Patreon. Again, every single dollar goes to this mission. If you can't do that, we completely understand. Head over to clashingsabers.net and just let us know what school or classroom could actually use a few more resources. And we have tons of great stories and books to send out.
Yeah, I've got a lot of books in my closet in room right now that need to go somewhere. So much thanks to you guys for doing that. Even though it's summer, and you're like, oh, can they? No, we'll just wait until August to send it to them. Like, I'll communicate to the teachers. We cater the book boxes to what the teachers need. So it's a really cool thing. If you want to learn more about that, like Lindsay said, you can go over to clashingsabers.net. And if you want to keep up with all the things that we're doing, clashingsabers.net is our hub where you can find everything. Of course, you can subscribe wherever you're listening. Follow us on social medias at Clashing Sabers to keep up with daily content.
And with that being said, may the force be with you.
I have spoken. I had to bring it back. You know what I mean? Poor Quill. It's gone too soon.
Too soon.
Soon enough, depends.